Welcome, everybody, to the show. This is the I Am Real Estate Show. We have our guest host, John, who's here with us. How you doing, John?
Yeah, always a pleasure.
And I'm flying solo because my beautiful wife, Sandra, is on her way with the Phoenix with the kids to go to the pool.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
I know.
Yeah.
Why do you want to miss the show? This is the best thing ever.
I was just thinking there's a closer pool in Tucson, maybe. But go ahead.
That's the voice you heard is the president and CEO of Inspired Life Mortgage. Is John Spur. Hey, John.
Hey, Ray, how are you doing?
Hey, great. Well, thanks a lot, man. I know you were on early with John talking about VA loans. And so I wanted to keep on and talk about loans, but about from a different perspective on the new buyers. And the one thing I want to talk about is, can you explain the difference between VA, FHA, and USDA loans?
Absolutely. So we'll start with VA because it's going to be the quickest and easiest to explain. And if you are a veteran and you are eligible for a VA loan and have a certificate of eligibility, you can do a VA loan. And that's what we're doing for John. And, if you're not sure if you're eligible, I can help you figure that out relatively quick.
Okay.
Nice. And now a VA is a government-backed loan, and it is underwritten to guidelines that are actually a federal law that the Veterans Administration monitors.
Right.
Then you have FHA, which is also a government-backed loan, and it is monitored, and the guidelines, again, are a federal law, and it's monitored by HUD, Housing and Urban Development. Now, FHA, you do have to have a 3.5% down payment, but it can come from multiple places. Your employer can provide it. You can get a gift from a family member. You can take money from your retirement account. There's a lot of places the down payment can come from.
Right.
And an FHA loan is going to have expanded underwriting guidelines, and it's going to also take people that may have some credit blemishes or lower credit scores or no credit at all.
Right.
And I think that's one of the misnomers out there is people think you have to have credit to be able to buy a home, and you don't. FHA will allow you to purchase a home with zero credit and no credit score. We do have to show that you can pay bills, so you pay an electric bill on time or your cell phone, auto insurance, stuff like that. And then you have USDA, which is regulated by the people that certify our beef. Now, that is a no down payment program. It is a little more difficult to qualify for, and it has restrictions on where you can live, and it's going to be in the rural areas. So you can't do a USDA loan in the middle of Tucson. It just doesn't work. There's a map that we have to look at, and it's going to be outlying areas, out more like Red Rock or down in Green Valley, Sarita area, or way out towards like Benson area. But not going to be eligible for something in the center of Tucson.
I want people to understand that you do all these different loans. You've done all these before. It's not your first time walking through any of these loans before.
Oh, no, it's not my first rodeo. I've been doing these FHA, VA, USDA, conventional, so on and so forth for almost 31 years now.
Wow. The process for the VA loan and the USDA loan and FHA loan, what do you need from the buyers to help the process go by quickly?
Just the mortgage application in general. It doesn't matter what type of loan you're doing. I tell people a lot of times that a VA loan is just a conforming loan with 5 extra documents. So the process itself doesn't change. But we need W-2s, pay stubs, bank statements, driver's license, and we need to take a full application, and we need to pull a credit report.
Okay.
And lately, what I've been seeing is credit has been the limiting factor for a lot of people, and they don't understand how just a $199 collection account affects and hurts their credit. And a lot of my conversations the last month and a half have been over, this is why your credit score is what it is. If we do this, your credit score will go to here.
When we talked before, and when I talk with some of our clients, I tell them that this is probably the first step is to come and talk to you about their buying power. I believe that's one of the most important things they need to do first. Do you agree on?
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing worse than going and looking at this, what you believe is your dream home, and all of a sudden you don't qualify for it. We always want to get your information, get your credit pulled, and do a budget. Work through a budget and figure out what a responsible payment is for you. I have talked to people in the past, and I said, look, you know what? I can qualify you for a $1.5 million house. You are not going to like the $9,000 a month payment it comes with. So what are you comfortable paying monthly that doesn't make you house poor? And then we work backwards, into a number. Then I can give you, Ray, the approval, and you guys go find a house that meets their needs based on the numbers that I give you. And that way there's no disappointment, there's no letdown. Right away, you can go shop for a home
Right.
that you're confident in, and are going to enjoy.
When I'm talking with clients, sometimes I use two phrases. One is called pre-qualified, and one is called pre-approved. And I would like for you to try to explain to them the difference between the two and how important it is to have the pre-approved.
Perfect example is the borrowers you referred to me. We just had a general conversation. They said, well, we make X and we have these bills and so on and so forth. And I'm like, well, you should qualify for this to this,
Right.
170,000 to 180,000, whatever the numbers were. But we didn't pull credit. I didn't look at their pay stubs. We didn't look at bank statements. It was just a general conversation. They were
Yeah.
looking to find out, would we qualify and what would our payment be? And that's just kind of, the pre-work, the pre-qualification. A pre-approval, we pull credit. We look at your pay stubs. We look at your assets. And if it's marginal or I can't get the automated underwriting system to approve your loan, we get it in front of an underwriter and get it fully underwritten so that we know you qualify for X and you can go confidently write a contract.
Good, good. Another thing I'm talking about for new buyers and young buyers is having something called a down payment assistance plan or program. Are there many of those? And if they are, what are they?
There are a lot of down payment assistance programs. Not all of them are created equally.
Okay.
There are down payment assistance programs for people that have money to put down. They just don't want to use it. I personally don't like those programs, and I personally don't offer them.
Okay.
To me, down payment assistance are for those people that the only way they're going to get into a home is if we find a program out there that can help them get into a home. And those programs I like because they don't come with catches. You're going to get X for your down payment and for your closing costs, and as long as you make payments for 12 months to 36 months on time, that money is going to be forgiven, and you're not going to have to pay it back. These programs do come with some restrictions. They're going to have income restrictions, or maybe you have to buy a property in a certain neighborhood. There's one for postal workers. There's one for civil servants. There's one for firefighters. There's one for teachers. So there's different down payment assistance programs out there, and not every lender offers every program. I don't offer them all. But
okay.
I have a few. But if you reach out to me and you want to look at down payment assistance and I don't offer it, I know who in town does and can comfortably refer you to somebody who knows going to take good care of you.
Yeah, that's what I love about you, that you're willing to work with them. And if not, we'll find the best solution we can. But it's all about the client. Every time they walk into your door.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's about getting somebody into their first home, second home, third home. They're moving up, moving down. It's about what do we need to do to help you get into the house you're looking to get into, and how do we do it in an efficient manner that meets your financial needs at that time?
You talked about, is there any names for these down payment programs, or are they just called down payment programs?
Just down payment assistance is the best way to refer to. They have all sorts of different names. In most of them I mispronounce because I speak gibberish, not English. So
Right.
We got to speak something.
Yeah, that's funny. And when we come back, can we talk about rate buy-down procedures and options that are out there to the clients?
Absolutely.
Okay. We're here with John Spur. He is the CEO and president of Inspired Life Mortgage. We'll be back in a minute. Have a good day, guys, and stay safe out there. Just a reminder, you don't hear my beautiful wife's voice because she's taking care of the grandkids and Phoenix swimming.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back with John Spur. Of course, I've told you already, he is the CEO and owner of Inspired Life Insurance. Before the break, I was talking about buying down the rate options.
Yeah, and it's Inspired Life Mortgage, not insurance.
Yeah.
But that's
what I
okay.
meant.
That's all right,
That's the next.
That's the next
venture.
company.
That's the next
Yeah.
venture.
That's part of
That's
the
what we're
empire.
going at.
I'm trying to give you ideas, man.
I already had that idea. I just haven't done it yet. So, you wanted to talk about mortgage insurance or PMI, and so there's
We were going to talk about buying the rate down.
buying the rate down. So, buying a rate down is something that we have to look at and calculate. In a lot of instances today, it may be a really good idea for you to buy a rate down to get that payment to where you can afford the house or can move into the home. There are different ways to do that. There are actual loan programs that are called a 2-1 or 1-1 buy down, where the interest rate that you're getting already has that buy down built into it. And for an example, a 2-1, let's say the rate I tell you you're going to lock at is 6%.
Right.
The first year, your rate's going to be 4%. The next year, your rate's going to be 5%. And then the third year, the rate's going to be 6%. It's a great way to help you ease into a bigger payment and also maybe navigate where these rates are going today. And over the next couple of years, maybe the rates do come back down and you can refinance out of that. Another option to buy down is just paying points. Pay an origination fee, pay a discount so that you're physically buying the interest rate down. And I think an example that we used on a sales meeting was on that particular day, we were locking people in at 5 3/8 on a 30-year fixed. But if they were willing to pay 1.5 points, you could get a rate of 4 1/4. While on a $300,000 mortgage, the difference in that payment was almost $350 a month. So you're going to pay, $4,500, $4,700 up front, but you're going to save over $300 a month on that payment, and that house becomes a lot more affordable.
Yeah, I like that idea. And when we talk to John is very smart in coming up with ideas, and we call him outside the box. He does a great job of doing that for us and for our clients. That's, I'm kind of saying us, but when we have our clients, we consider them part of our family. So when you do these things, you do it for us. When we're talking about PMI, which is...
PMI. So PMI stands for private mortgage insurance. Essentially, before there was any type of MI or FHA, you had to have 20 or 25% down to buy a house. Late 70s, early 80s, you had to have that type of money to buy a house. Then HUD came on the scene and FHA had their mortgage insurance. And then for other banks to be competitive against FHA, they came up with private mortgage insurance. Essentially what it is if you don't have 20% down, you can put 10 or 5 or 3. They're insuring the difference from 80% to whatever you're putting down. So let's say you put 5% down, that's a 95% loan to value. That's 15% away from 80%.
Right.
So the private mortgage insurance is insuring that 15% of the loan. So if for some reason you default, the investor that holds that loan is guaranteed to get that 15% with the private mortgage insurance. It's very credit score driven. And this is where taking care of your credit really matters if you're not going to put 20% down.
Right.
And I'll give you an example. Somebody who's buying a $300,000 home, and I keep using 300,000 because it's an easy number for me. I have everything memorized for it. So not every home in Tucson is $300,000. It's just an easy number for me to work with.
Right.
If you have a 620 credit score and you're putting 5% down and you're buying a $300,000 home, your mortgage insurance is going to be about $160 a month. If you have a 740 credit score, your mortgage insurance is going to be $40 a month.
Nice.
It's a significant difference.
Wow.
So if you're thinking about going out and starting that home buying process for the first time, let's look at your credit and let's see what we can do, where your credit score is at. I think that's the very first thing we need to do is figure out where are you with credit, what do we need to change, and how is that going to affect your mortgage insurance and what loan product you take.
Yes.
Yeah, and if I can, on the Common Good Radio show, I was asking you about, okay, what is, where is that line for people that, can afford a house versus can't afford a house? And you said you sit down with them, you kind of go through that with them. I asked that same question for people that are looking to refinance. Like, what does the ideal situation look like for somebody to contact you and possibly look into refinancing their current loan?
There's hundreds of reasons of why you may want to refinance. Most people think it's because I have a high interest rate. Well, maybe you want to go to a shorter term and pay that home off before you retire. Maybe you have a situation where you need to do some improvements to your home because it's just outdated. Maybe you have some high interest rate debt that you would like to pay off.
Right.
So there's a lot of different options or reasons that you would look at refinancing. But again, it's just a simple phone call. And if refinancing doesn't make sense, we're going to tell you. It doesn't make sense, don't do it.
Yeah. I'm still focusing on the young buyers and the new buyers who just are having a tough time trying to get into the market, who want to buy homes. And sometimes in the contract, they can't pay for closing costs. And so I'm asking you as a lender, do you see in your field that a lot of contracts are going through with the buyer asking for closing costs?
A lot more today than we were 6 months ago or even 3 months ago. I would say, what do we have this month? 7 or 8 contracts come through already this month, and 4 of them had seller paid closing costs. And they were decent amounts. It wasn't $1,000 or $2,000. We had $5,000, $6,000. I actually have one contract where the seller is contributing more than we can actually have in closing costs to spend it on. But I am now seeing sellers willing to contribute towards closing costs, which was not the case 6 months ago.
It's working well in the industry right now.
Absolutely. One of the trends I've seen in Colorado, because we're licensed in Colorado, is sellers are actually offering money to help buy the rate down so that the payment becomes affordable so they can actually buy the house.
Wow, that's doing great. One other thing I noticed is that when we talk to young buyers, they have to also pay attention to the HOA fee and how does that play into the loan process?
So yeah, the HOA fee is absolutely is considered in the calculation for your debt to income. Because it is a housing expense. It will never be part of your mortgage payment. It's a separate bill. But when we're calculating how much home you qualify for, that HOA fee is definitely a number that's in there. And I've seen HOA fees as much as $300 or $400, and that is going to make a difference on what you qualify for.
And when I talk to my clients, I always make sure they look at the HOA fee and they make sure that number goes to you. And I think you was telling me a story about one time the HOA fee was, you thought it was 35 and it was 350 or something like that.
No, we brought that up in the meeting the other day. I was told the HOA fee was $63, and I was scratching my head. I'm like, that seems really low for this community, but okay, that's what they have in the contract. And then when we got the documents from the HOA company in the process of doing the loan, it was $363. So it's kind of the whole joke, comma saves lives. Well, having the right numbers in the right place is going to save your mortgage.
Hey, how do people get a hold of you, John?
They can reach me on my cell phone at 520-247-3610 or John, Jon, at inspiredlifemortgage.com.
Remind everybody how long you've been doing this. I think you said 31 years.
A very long time, yes, 31 years. I worked on my first mortgage loan as a junior in high school.
Wow. At
Tucson Federal Credit Union. I was 17 years old.
I wanted to let everybody know that you're also a U of A grad.
Yes, love the U of A, go Cats. That was a fun time.
Yeah, we're both season ticket holders, so we enjoy the football team. We're gonna see what's gonna happen this year. You're not getting rid of tickets, are you?
No, I'm not.
Oh man, I was trying to buy them. Sorry. But thanks a lot, John. Thanks a lot for being with us, John. If you're looking to buy or sell your home, when you have questions, we would like to help if you need help. You can get a hold of me or Sandra. My phone number is 520-904-7711. And my wife Sandra's number is 520-850-1725. We appreciate you coming in here, John. You had a long day, man, on a couple shows and stuff, but your information is so important. We're glad you had a chance to come on out.
Oh, thanks for having me. I love getting this information out there.
Okay, guys, we'll be back. We have the executive chef of the Arizona Sands Club coming, Chef Hogg. Thank you. We are back again. Thanks for sticking around. Today we have a great guest with us today. We have the executive chef of the Arizona Sands Club, Chef Matt Hogg. How you doing, Chef?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
And I think I like to tell everybody that he's my friend so I can talk crap. I know a chef. I know somebody.
Yeah, we've actually gone golfing together.
Oh, really? Interesting. I'm jelly now.
Yeah, we're trying to get a second time out there, but somebody seems to be working all the darn time.
Yeah.
That means both of us, So.
Yeah. Well, next time you guys go, invite me for sure.
Oh, we sure will.
Okay,
We'll probably do, we can put in a plug in there. We'll probably do Arizona on the National, then come by the house and I'll cook some burgers or something for us.
Now we're talking.
Sit back and chill.
Now
I'm afraid to cook, and then the chef's like, man,
I know, seriously.
It wasn't all that great.
That'd be
man.
scary.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. I bet cooking for you is
Man, that
nerve-wracking.
happens to me all the time. But you gotta understand, like I live my life cooking for other people, so it's like just having somebody cook for me for once. I'm like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah. You're not like especially critical of the seasoning or anything like
not
that.
At all.
No, okay. Well, now we know.
I mean, if it's really bad, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Well, I don't cook anything. I don't even make. I burn bread. So yeah, you don't have to worry about eating any of my food.
Well, like I said, we're here with Chef Hogg. He is the executive chef of the Arizona Sands Club. Chef, tell everybody where you come from.
Well, I'm from Austin, Texas. I was pretty much there my whole life. I lived in Virginia for probably about 8 years when I was a kid, but I came back to Austin, and so I pretty much grew up there. So that's why I say I'm from Austin, Texas. Moved here in about March of 2020, just before everything shut down, because of COVID. And,
perfect time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice. I've heard good things about Austin.
They say it's one of the best places to live, actually.
Yeah. Interesting.
Which actually did. It's funny. Tucson actually kind of reminds me like a smaller version of Austin because it's got that eccentrics and
that big
kinda
small
interesting-
town
yeah,
feel, kind of.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
So hey, chef, before you became the executive chef of the Arizona Sands, where did you come back before this?
So I actually started this company in 2014 at the University of Baylor. So we opened up a brand new club there as well, just like we did it with Arizona 2 years ago. In 2014, they built that brand new stadium, thanks to RG3 and actually bringing them back to the national spotlight. And, so I was there for about 3 or 4, almost 4 years as the executive sous chef. Got promoted to an executive chef position down in San Antonio for a couple of years, and not gonna lie, I kind of hated it there because it was a city club, and I really love the stadium club division because it's so much more fun being in that kind of atmosphere with the football and sports and all that stuff. So was actually helping the University of Texas one of their game days. Ran into my old boss, who's now like the senior vice president of the stadium club division. He's all like, how do you like San Antonio? And I was like, I kind of hate it. I'm looking for. I've been waiting for a stadium club to open up, and he was like, well, we got one at the University of Arizona. I was like, oh, okay, where's that? So he's like, oh, it's in Tucson, Arizona. I was like, okay, where's that?
Help me out here.
So they flew me down here. I kind of took a look at the stadium while it was still under construction and stuff like that, and I just kind of fell in love with the place. And then, they called me up one week, was like, hey, can you be here next week? I was like, sure. I moved here, and then everything shut down.
Yeah, and people don't realize how big your staff is at the Arizona Sands. You have so many responsibilities. So talk a little bit about your staff and all the things you do, all the different places you take care of.
Sure. So actually, we have 2 different kitchens. We have our club kitchen upstairs that does all of our a la carte dining. I've got a staff of probably about 10 to 12 people up there, including dishwashers, stuff like that I actually physically oversee, including executive sous chefs, stuff like that. And then I've got my kitchen downstairs that we actually feed all the student athletes. So we're feeding about 350 kids a day. Right now we're in the middle of football's training camp, and those guys can eat. So that's a big production on its own. I've got a staff of probably about another 10 or 12 down there, including dishwashers. And then I also have a banquet crew that handles all of our private event stuff, which is another 8 people or so. So overall, you're looking probably 30 to 35 people eventually, especially when we got game days coming up, in football season. So we'll definitely ramp up our staff a little bit.
That's what I was thinking about. That now when football's coming up, and the people have to move back and forth those banquets, man. They're taking food up and down all around.
We've got
busy.
so many different areas that we, when it comes to the suites, we can sell those places out for private events. We've got the Dunlap Club that can do, hold probably about 500 or 600. It's a big indoor and outdoor space. We've got the club itself that has a bunch of different areas. So we're rocking and rolling on a pretty regular basis.
I want to talk a little bit about your style of food now. What do you consider your style?
My style is I love taking things that somebody's had a million times and just kind of putting a little twist on it and just be like, wow, that's completely different from what I'm used to. When I first started out, I was really big into kind of like Southwestern cuisine with like a little bit of an Asian flair. And I've realized I've gotten really good at doing comfort food, and now it's being in a members club sort of thing. Like you kind of listen to what your members want, and you're like, all right, what can I do to make them happy, and what can I do to change this, and what can I do to kind of put my twist on it, and plus I also use my guys. I let them get their creative juices flowing too, and so it's not just like a dictatorship where it's like what I say goes. It's a little bit of everybody's got their hands in the pot sort of thing.
How many times have you heard these are the best quesadillas I've ever had in my life?
Too many times to count.
Yeah. And I say that just because not until I had the quesadilla at the Arizona Sands Club did I realize, all that can be done. That can be done not only with the quesadilla, but just in general. It's just like there's not a dish at the Arizona Sands Club that is just not over the moon. So, yeah.
Gotcha. It's something as simple as a quesadilla and being able to do something like you're saying, it's like the best one you've ever had sort of thing. That's makes me feel good, and that's why I do what I do. Is just kind of make people think about food in a different way.
I'm going to ask the second question. How many people said that your burgers was the best they ever had?
I get that a lot too. I'm not gonna lie. I get like, man, especially because with being in invited clubs, we've got 350 locations across the nation. So, and one of our packages, our X Life membership, it's made for people who travel.
Right.
And so I don't know how many times I've had people like, man, I've been to like 20 of these clubs, and you've got the best food I've ever had here.
Yeah.
I hear that on a pretty regular basis. So I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but the head does get a little bit big sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
let it.
Well, let me toot it a little. Let me toot it a little bit because I was in Philadelphia with my wife, visiting my family, and we went to the City Club
Okay.
up there and had dinner up there, and it's really bad. When this is a really exquisite place, and they serving food, you eating it like, I've had better. You know, you go around, I had better. And talking to my wife, and we were around town, we want to get something to eat. Let's go get something to eat. Well, we can go anywhere. Well, we can. The Sands only 5-10 minutes away, way out of our way. Well, we can go to the Sands and go grab something to eat from the chef. So we always wind up at the chef because your menu and the way you cook is just amazing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, that's a great thing about the club life too. Is being a member, it's like everybody's a regular.
Right.
Usually normal restaurants, you get somebody that comes in maybe once or twice a year, but it's like everybody that Ray's there 3 times a week. You're there almost every day working too. So it's like,
see, I used to be embarrassed, but now I know that John's there way more than I am now, so I feel much more comfortable now.
Yeah.
Ray, you're there a lot.
We definitely have a lot of people use it kind of like their office away from home sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and to get a lot of work done.
Well, we're here with the chef of the Arizona Sands Club. His name is Chef Matt Hogg. I don't really know how to spell his name. I always call him Chef. So his name to me is Chef. That's the only way I know to talk to him. That's how important he is to us in our lives and to the Sands Club. So we're going to be back with him with more about his ideas on cooking and how much fun he's having out here in Arizona. We'll be right back. You're back with Ray Smith and John Spur. John McClain.
Yeah.
We're here with Chef Hogg. We'll talk a little bit about the Sands Club. And Chef, what excited you and got you into becoming a chef and the cooking?
Oh man, I started cooking with my dad when I was about 5 years old or so, and we would just, on the weekends kind of get together and just, play around with different food and stuff like that. And then I would always cook for my friends in high school. I mean, the funny thing was I was actually working my way towards a chemical engineering degree, and I know this is going to sound a little cliche, but then my dad actually passed away, and we were having a party, everybody's, having drinks and stuff like that, having a good time, getting rowdy, and then I was making food, and when it came out, like, everybody, the place went silent. All you could hear was like chewing and like, this is good, So just seeing those smiles on people's faces, I was like, this is something that, I was already working in restaurants and stuff like that at that point, and just, seeing that interaction between like my ability to cook and just putting smiles on people's faces, like really kind of changed the tone for me.
Did you go to culinary school, or did you start in the dishwasher? Like I hear a lot of the chefs start in dishwashing, then you work your way up.
I started as a server at one point, got moved to kind of like an expediter, and then I was like, hey, I'd really like to get back in the kitchen. It's like, well, if you're going to come back, you're going to have to work the dish pit, a little bit. So yeah, definitely wash some dishes. Then they saw how fast I could, do some prep, and they're like, all right, you're not in the dish pit anymore, come on out here. So then just once that happened with my dad and stuff like that, and I just kind of saw that, I was like, all right, I'm gonna change my focus, and decided to go to culinary school. So I went to the Cordon Bleu, is Texas Culinary Academy in Austin.
Okay.
Which
Nice.
I don't even think it's even open anymore, but it's like a 2-year program that they cram down into a year, and then you do about 3 months of externship after that.
Yeah, I know that as executive chefs, you guys take pride of being the best. But is there anybody that you like to follow that's cooking out there that you're watching?
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Everybody's going to say Gordon Ramsay and stuff like that. Giada De Laurentiis was a big influence for me as well. Just kind of watching shows and stuff like that. But it's just getting out there and just working with people, and just even my guys that I work with, they still inspire me too, because it's like hey, this guy really has a passion for this. It's like, what can I do to mold him into being like, to get him into my position one day.
And we want everyone to know that you're going to have a chance on Monday, August 15th, to taste some of the chef's food. Monday they have at the Sands Club is called Last Call Before Football, which non-members have a chance to see the Arizona Sands. It's going to be from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's going to have the best promotional deals for people who are thinking about joining the private club. Come out and see it. It's at the Lowell Stevens Stadium and the U of A Stadium. And Chef, can you tell us what you're going to be preparing out there?
Yeah, so Last Call Before Football is our biggest, promotion, membership drive of the year. If you're interested in coming in, you can go to azsandsclub.com. There's a banner where you can register for it. But we're putting on, we're doing like hand carved poke stations, with tuna loins and yellowtail, wing bars, slider bars, vegetable crudité stands, and we got a little bit of everything, because you got a lot of vegan and gluten free is a big thing now.
Right.
So we've got a whole lot of food that we're going to be putting out, like, Chinese chicken salad wontons and, just, chicken and waffle sliders.
You're making me so hungry right now.
Yeah, we just try to encompass a lot of everybody just to try and hopefully, kind of show off what we do at the club and what we can do on a regular basis.
Right.
So that way it just entices people to sign up even more.
I remember last time we had a big event, you made a poke bowl, or it was a...
So that's actually the poke station we're putting out this time. I mean, people I put it out one time and it was like
gone.
everybody seems to love it.
It was gone. I'm like, I'll try it in about an hour. You better get it when you get there. It was so impressive, and everybody's, man, this is so great. And you built it yourself, right? You build your own.
So we have a chef that'll be chef attended station where it's like I'll have one of my guys actually back there like cutting a whole tuna loin. So I'll get like a big 14-pound tuna loin that'll be sitting there in front of them. A bunch of sides of yellowtail that they're actually cubing up and right in front of you, and just kind of you want that with lettuce, or you want it with rice. You want a half and half. Then you got all like your edamame, of course, your pickled ginger, pineapple, cabbage, all the accoutrements you could think of just to try and make sure you get it exactly the way you like it.
To put on such a big event, how much prep do you and your staff need to make this happen?
I mean, it's a lot of work. You have formulas that you use, that I teach all my staff to use, like when you're trying to prep for 25 people versus 500 people. It's the same formulas. It's just that using you need proteins. You're doing 3 ounces of protein per person. Multiply that by how many people, divide it by 16 because there's 16 ounces in a pound. That's how many pounds you need of it. So
I just want, before you go on, you just heard that you used math, you used algebra, all those different things. So you do need math for something.
Yeah, that chemical engineering degree.
Right. If you think about it, I'm still doing chemical engineering.
Yeah.
It's just edible now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like it much better this way. It's a lot less boring.
How young are your sous chefs?
So we actually just promoted one of my guys from a sous chef. He was running my banquet team to my executive sous chef. I think it's a really good move for his career. He's in his late 20s. I've got another guy that's in his his 30s that we actually just hired on. I've got a couple. I got literally just hired another sous chef to replace my banquet guy today. I've got another guy that's going to be starting in the next week or so. I mean, they're usually pretty on the younger side. But they've progressed in their career enough that like they show that they have the passion for it and they've got the skills to do it. So it's kind of one of those things. I always try to find people that are there to replace me. It's like obviously I'm not going to be there forever. So I like to try and find people that are ready to take that next step and just try to push them into becoming that person to be able to. It's like, hey, do you really think you can take on this whole stadium by yourself?
Whoa.
So it's one of those things. It's like trying to push people to go above and beyond what they think they're capable of.
Did you think it was a daunting task when you came here and said, okay, I got to run this whole stadium? Or did you like, yeah, I'm ready to go, let's knock it out?
Not really. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of doing it by myself already when I was at Baylor. Sometimes you get people that you work for that don't like to sit in their office and not really do a whole lot. So
that happens. Yes, I've heard of it.
I'm not one of those guys. And then and you kind of earn that respect from your crew too. When they see that, like, hey, he's really willing to jump in and washing dishes, or he's willing to help out behind the line, and sling knives, and hey, you need some fruit cut, I got you. Just doing the simple stuff. It kind of just shows that you're there to help out and you're there to be a team player and work together.
One thing my wife said, and I wanted to bring it out, is you're not going to go to many places where this executive chef's going to come and bring your food out to you. You're not going to find out, and then come talk to you for a little bit and talk about the food. And she said you can go to a lot of different restaurants. You may never see the sous chef at the Sands. You'll see Chef Hogg at least 4 or 5 times coming out there, and then you come and talking to people, and he knows all the patrons and stuff, so everybody knows him. So you're very personable, and everybody knows who you are, and everybody loves your food. So we love the way you handle things.
That was actually one of my biggest selling points for whenever I got hired on here was like, this guy actually likes to get out and talk, meet and greet the people, and get to know everybody. I mean, like I said, you guys are there on a regular, almost 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
And
it's one of my favorite parts of the day is just you come by, give me dap.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
Yeah.
And when people come there who are brand new, I love when you come by and say, I know the chef. We golf together. I throw a little bit of stuff out there.
I know you love it whenever I come up there and we always give each other a hug and you're sitting there right next to somebody. It's like, oh man, he gets coolest
here. From the executive chef of the Arizona Sand, you better believe it. I'm happy as heck.
Yeah.
I'm going to scare you guys a little bit. Here's some things you probably don't know about the chef.
Oh God, here we go.
Yeah, I'm going to put it out there. And he was telling us that he was in theater when he was in school, and I tried to ask whether he did ballet and wore tattoos. He said no. So tell us a little bit about the theater.
He didn't do the Nutcracker.
No, I mean, like I don't know. I just got into like getting on stage and being in front of people. You know, that was like in 4th grade when I started. I think I played like Tom Sawyer or something like that. I mean, it's so long ago, but it's definitely helped me, my career, in the long run, being able to get out in front of people and, especially we do like wine dinners and stuff like that, being able to have that kind of presence in front of people to be able to explain your dish and not have, your voice cracking. Like, I'm so nervous, like, how do I go about this? But, just having that, that ability to just get in front of people and just, just make people laugh, make people smile and, just keep them happy.
If you've never been on one of those shows where they serve your food and then they explain the food to you what they're serving, I had that from the chef up in the Sands Club. Where he came in, this soup, okay, thank you. And this is I'm like, yeah, thank you very much. But you just felt like you were just in one of the most beautiful places in the world, and all the food was awesome. Everybody knows that I don't eat tomato soup. Don't eat it at all. Chef had some tomato soup, I'm eating it. I'm not eating it. I'm eating it because he's in there. It was awesome. But that's just the way he is, man. You say you take something simple and you elevate it.
Yeah, so like our tomato soup, everybody knows how to make tomato soup or just get it from the Campbell's can or whatever. But like we actually take ours and like it's a charred tomato soup, so I put all my tomatoes on a grill, get a nice good black char on the outside of them. Same thing with like the onions and the garlic and stuff that goes into it. Then of course you got to use fresh basil, your heavy cream, and just it's a real nice balance of just making sure that it's a little bit more high end than you're used to.
I'm going to give some shout out to Stacy and Courtney. Let them know that, hey, we didn't forget. Everybody, Monday, August 15th is last call before football, which is non-members have a chance to see the Sands Club. Best promotional deals for people who are thinking about joining the private club. Come on out to Lowell Stevens Stadium. That's at the U of A Stadium. And what's this website, Coach Chef?
So go to AZ Sands Club. So like AZ as in short for Arizona, and then Sands like a grain of sand, and then club.com. Some people always think I say Sam's.
Like. Yeah. There's so many people. I'm like, I'm gonna meet me at the Sam's Club. They're like, what are you going to Sam's Club for? You need some extra fish? Getting in bulk? No, it's not that.
We like to thank the chef for taking the time to come out. We know how busy you are, so thanks a lot for taking the time.
Of course.
Hey, if you're looking to buy or sell your home and you have any questions, we would love to help you out. You can contact Ray Smith at 520-904-7711. Or talk to Sandra Johnson, who is my wife. We're partners. Her phone number is 520-850-1725. We'd like to thank everybody for being on the show. We'd like to also mention and talk about our amazing sponsors. One of them is the Arizona Sands Club. The other one is Indy Realty, where we work at. We just heard John Spur on Inspired Life Mortgage. He's also a sponsor. And we have Regal Pest Prevention. We also have the Atomic Nutrition and the Sweet Little Chefs. I'm going to close because the chef can't do nothing to me, and let you guys know that he was also in the choir, and for 3 years he was at a barbershop quartet for 3 years.
Now you know it's out there.
I should start a show called The Singing Chef or something.
That's it.
Thank you guys. We'll see you next week.